Stevie Lav here of My Global Mind, and I'm here with Frank from Fozzy.
What's up? How you doing?
Frank, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, good to be in London again.
Yeah, like you guys have played London quite a few times, haven't you?
Yeah, several times, several different venues, several times. I mean, I tell people at home it's like, almost like a commute for me now. It's almost like just going to work, you know. So.
Because where were you guys last night?
We were in. Where were we last night? We were in Glasgow last night.
Oh, okay, so you've had a reasonable journey today.
Yeah, it's a long drive down from Glasgow, but we're lucky that we get to sleep on the way. So
yeah, for sure.
So it makes, for the band, it almost makes no difference. You know, you go to sleep and you wake up and there you are. You know.
That's quite nice in a way. You just get to wake up in a new place every day.
Yeah. It's nice not to have to deal with driving, you know, and stuff. I mean, we've all done it. We spent a large portion of our career driving vans, and you know, and stuff like that. Where you have
to now you've got someone to do it for you.
You got somebody to do it for you, and so it helps you, you know, be energized for the show. And you know, you don't have to worry about. It's nice to have a bus and a crew and all those things. So all you have to do is focus on playing the gig, you know, which is nice.
Although I remember reading an interview that you guys had an accident on your bus once, right?
Rich and myself, we've actually been in a couple of bus accidents.
Really?
Yeah. So last one was a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago or so, when we were in Europe, and we had a substitute driver because we had a long drive, and when they go over a certain amount of hours, they have to have a substitute driver.
Sure, right.
And she just like ran up on a construction barrier and took the door of the bus off, smashed the windshield, and you know, when you're laying in your bunk and something like that happens, you feel like the world's coming to an end, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
And you jump up and realize you're okay. All right, everybody's okay. Okay,
that must be like the worst alarm clock ever, though.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I thought, you know, if the bus went up a little bit and came back down, but when the bus came up, it's when it woke me up, and I thought we had like jumped off a bridge or something. So I woke up waiting to hit the water or something, and then when I saw people walking up and down the hall, I was like, okay, we're not in midair. Good, all right.
Because I mean, everyone was okay.
Yeah, everyone was totally fine.
I saw a picture of the bus, and it looked pretty totaled.
Yeah, it was messed up. We had to get another bus, you know, and we had to sit around and wait for, you know, the bus company to send another one, and it was scary, but you know, everybody was okay. So Rich and I in our former band, Stuck Mojo, were in a bus accident in Germany several years ago, where we were stopped on the motorway and a truck didn't see us and just ran right into the back of us. So yeah, it's one of those things when you're touring and you're in your bunk at night and you know you're getting ready to go to sleep, you forget that you're flying down the highway in a tin can, basically.
And putting your life in a stranger's
life
hands.
Is literally in someone else's hands, you know, and you don't think about it. I every once in a while when I'm getting ready to go to bed and everybody's up, you know, and kind of hanging out and talking and everything, you forget that you're in a vehicle speeding down the road, you know, and your life is literally in somebody else's hands, and every once in a while it'll kind of dawn on you and it'll make you a little scared, but then you just have to deal with it. And
But thankfully no such mishaps today from Glasgow.
No, everything's been going smoothly today.
And so you must spend like a lot of time on this bus, and thankfully looking around, this is pretty nice environment.
Yes, we've had a variety of different vehicles traveling in, and this has been one of the nicest. So we're on a very nice bus, and you know, it's a nice way to be able to make a living, you know, doing what you love to do and being treated well. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And how do you pass the time? Like you said, there's a lot of waiting around between gigs and stuff. How do you pass the time on the bus?
Myself, I'm Mr. Boring guy who I'll just lay in my bunk and read. You know, I'm not the most outgoing person in the world. I'm not the hey, you know, let's party guy. You know,
okay.
I basically just like to keep to myself. And when the bus is moving, I'm in my bunk and I got a book in my hands. You know, as unexciting, as unglamorous as that sounds, that's the truth, you know, and just, you know, hanging out with the rest of the guys of the band. And sometimes Chris and I will be back here in the back lounge listening to music and just talking about music and life and stuff. So.
Well, I don't know if you know this. I was watching an interview with Billy and Chris on YouTube, and they mentioned that you were the most well-read and the most intelligent member of Fozzy.
Oh, did they say that?
They said that. That's quite nice.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I mean, they said some hurtful things as well.
Actually, I did. You know, what's funny is I did see part of that interview, and I think I saw the part where they said I was the laziest band member. And
yeah, they did say that.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, guys.
But I didn't see the most intelligent part, so okay.
Yeah, you were sort of pissed off by that, so you sort of turned it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, they sort of, they rectified that situation. They called you the most intelligent.
Okay, well, all right, I can. Okay, then no harm done then.
Absolutely. So what are you reading at the minute to earn your title as most intelligent of Fozzy?
Right now I'm just to pass the time. I'm reading a book that's a book. It's a fiction book by an author named Dean Koontz called Strangers. It's an old book. I've read it several times. It's one of those things where sometimes when I'm on the road, I like to read things that are familiar.
Sure,
you know what
right,
I mean? Because it's almost like you know, like not like a homesick type of thing, but just something that's, you know, comforting, not too challenging.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm on the road, I don't like to, you know, read anything that's too challenging. I like to read things that are a little bit more familiar. But I'm interested in current events, politics, philosophy, that kind of thing. And I just finished reading a book by a guy named Charles Krauthammer. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's an American, and he's a political commentator who I find really interesting, and I enjoyed his book. And his book was a collection of essays from over his career, from when he began writing. It covers everything from politics to just to art to you know, things that he finds interesting, you know, and he's won a Pulitzer Prize, and he's a pretty respected writer, so I like his work, and I'll read just like essays, you know, what people have to say about events, you know, current events, what's going on in the world, that kind of thing.
Okay, I'm gonna put you on the spot. You say you're interested in politics. I'm gonna make you the president of the USA.
Oh,
I've got that power for some reason.
Don't use it like that if you've got it. Don't put me in charge. Don't put me in charge. But anyway,
what would you what would sort of your the first thing you would do you reckon?
I don't know. That's so hard to say. I'm a very much a freedom guy and a liberty guy, and I don't know if over here the term is very well known, but I consider myself a libertarian.
Oh, sure.
I don't care for labels too much because I find them too limiting. I like to think of myself as a free thinker, you know. But I'm very much into the ideas of, you know, people being, you know, free to pursue their own interests, and my interest in politics is kind of the same as Ayn Rand's, in that I'm interested in politics in order to remove politics as much as possible from life, you know. So I leave it to anyone listening to draw their own conclusions as to what I would actually do if I had the power. But that's my philosophy.
Well, that sounds all right.
Well, I don't know. A lot of people have a lot of trouble with that kind of thing.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a natural human tendency to feel secure, you know, and people think of government as the thing that makes them feel secure, which is fine. That's government's job, but I think people look to government too often for things that they should be taking care of themselves.
Absolutely,
know? So,
yeah. No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to travel around a lot, and it sounds like you appreciate embracing these different cultures and stuff. What is it like for you waking up in a different city every day? Do you get to see a lot, or are you just too busy resting?
We used to when we first started coming over a long time ago. We did a lot of sightseeing and stuff like that, and I don't do as much of it anymore. Not because I'm not interested, just because
you've been there before.
Yeah, and you know, I just I guess being a little bit older and just kind of wanting to, you know, get the work done and move on. I'm kind of an introvert, you know. I kind of live a life inside my own head, you know. So and I just don't find myself doing it as much anymore. We came over a couple of years ago and brought a friend to as part of our crew who had never been overseas, and so everywhere he went over here, he was endlessly fascinated with every old church or castle that he saw. He would take pictures of it and he would show me, like, man, look at this church I saw, look at this castle, and it's like, I've seen it.
There's only so many you can see, right?
It's an
Gothic, great.
old church, old castle, Gothic. I've seen it. Okay, so I don't mean to be dismissive, but it's just I guess in a way, when it comes to that kind of stuff, I'm a little bit of an old fuddy-duddy. I'm not the most adventurous guy in the world. I'm not the guy who can't wait to venture out and see things. I kind of like to just be a little bit more, keep to myself, and just get the job done and move on.
Is there anywhere maybe when you were sort of first touring or anything that was a city that you looked forward to going to see, or is there any, you don't have to say London as well?
Well, I mean, actually, I actually came here about 20 years ago, before I even toured over here. Before I was in Stuck Mojo or Fozzy or anything, I played in a band that was just a local band in Atlanta, and we read all about the history of bands that couldn't really make anything happen in the States and went overseas and made things happen over there. So we got this brilliant idea that we were going to travel to London and try to get our band signed, and we actually came over here, arranged a trip, paid for it ourselves, and just came over here. We stayed like in a youth hostel, and we were over here for 2 weeks, and just like walking around the city, and we would just show up on a record label's doorstep with our demos, knock on the door, can we play you our stuff? And a lot of people, didn't have time for us, but some were so kind of impressed that we would do that they at least brought us in and said, okay, well, let's see what you got. Nothing came of it, but
you've traveled halfway across the world. And
when a bunch of young guys show up on your doorstep, with their demos saying, we traveled all the way here from America to try to get a deal, will you at least listen to our music?
Common courtesy would say they should let you have a listen.
Exactly. And just this is the music business. It is art, and you should have some respect for that kind of tenacity and that kind of drive to do something. And a lot of people were like, well, yeah, if you came all this way, come on in and let's hear what you got. And I sat in on a lot of meetings with A&R people who would bring us into their office, sit us down, and listen to our music, and none of them were really interested. And at the time, what we were doing was a lot more like progressive and more like Dream Theater, Yes, that kind of thing. And this was in the height of grunge, so grunge was all anybody was interested in. And they would kindly tell us that it's not what they were interested in, but thanks for coming by, that kind of thing. So I'd already seen London, but I was looking forward to seeing Paris for the first time. And just the first time we came over here, I was just open to seeing it all. And I'd love to come and bring maybe my wife and my family and do a trip around Europe, England, Europe, and everything. And I'd love to show my wife all the things I've seen, because she's Irish and she's never been here. She's never been to the UK or Ireland, England, anywhere. And I'd love to show her all that. I'd like to do it, in of itself, as opposed to not as, okay, we got time before the gig, let's go explore. I'd rather do one or the other. If I'm over here to gig, I want to just gig and that's
Focus on that, sure.
But I'd love to have the opportunity to come over and visit and actually be a tourist. Exactly, yeah.
Well, if she's Irish, you've got to take her to Ireland.
I really would like to. I'm going to try. I'm really going to try. One of these days it'll happen.
Well, I mean, you mentioned you've been sort of playing music for a long time. You've been sort of one of the stalwarts of Fozzy. Like you, Rich, and Chris have been here since the very, very start.
Yeah, we've been the core of the band since it started, yeah.
How can you sort of talk us through a little bit, maybe people who don't know, how things have changed since you released the self-titled debut, all the way in 99, was it?
It was 2000, I believe. 2000. Yeah, the band came together in 99, and we released that record in 2000. And it's really just changed in as far as everything, really. I mean, it was just kind of a laugh at the time. It was just something to do for fun and just kind of take the piss out of the whole, metal, and we just kept doing it, and we just decided we wanted to do it for real. And so, we started writing our own songs. Rich has always been a very prolific songwriter, and we had original material on that first record. You know, we had like 2 original songs, and the next album had 4 original songs, and we started thinking, well, why not just do all our own material and you know, be an actual band? And that's what we did. And
there was a real difference between Happenstance and All That Remains. Like the sort of even the style of the songs was much more modern, because you were doing the sort of 80s theme before.
Yeah. And it's so funny, no matter what we've done, even this record now, which I would consider our most kind of modern, you know, record, people still kind of refer to the 80s when they talk about us. So, yeah, so it's just evolved over the years. You know, we just decided to drop the you know, we were kind of, in a way, Steel Panther before Steel Panther was Steel Panther, and
yeah, I thought that before, actually.
Yeah,
right? Like a parody.
We kind of decided to move away from that. Maybe that was a mistake. Who knows? Maybe we should have stuck to our guns.
To your niche.
Yeah, maybe we should have. But you know, but we enjoy what we do. You know, we enjoy writing, and you know, it's a pleasure recording and playing these songs that, you know, Rich and Chris come up with, and you know, we all contribute as well. So. Yeah, I guess the main difference is it's just something that's a little bit more of a something we take seriously, as opposed to something we're just doing for fun.
And what about like you guys had like a hiatus after All That Remains?
Yeah.
There was sort of a little gap.
Yeah.
You, in that time, you seemed to sort of really change your image and how Fozzy was presented. Was that a conscious decision by you guys, or from your record label? Like, how did that come about?
I think Chris was probably the most responsible for that. I think he's probably the one in the band that's the most kind of image conscious, coming from you know, coming from the entertainment, you know, the sector of the entertainment industry that he does. He's the most sensitive to and the most conscious of how the band presents itself and everything. So yeah, that was, I think every band does that to some degree. You know, you think about how you present yourself to the audience and to the world, unless you're, you know, a band that just doesn't care. And there's bands who, they literally don't, you know, it's like, this is who I am, this is how I dress, this is how I look. You know, I just go on stage and I'm the same person, and that's fine. I consider myself the same person whether I'm on stage or off stage, but it's like anything else, you know. I'm going to dress probably a little bit nicer if I'm going on stage, you know. Sure. I don't see anything wrong with it. So you have to have some awareness of those things, and I would say Chris is probably the one who's a little bit more of like the director of how he wants the band to be presented, you know.
I mean, you allude to Chris's sort of past in wrestling and his notoriety from that. Initially, I think Fozzy was maybe met with some resistance from some people who maybe saw it as like a vanity project from this wrestler. Were there difficulties initially for you guys to try and overcome that?
There still are.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, we still find ourselves having to fight against that, and that's fine, you know. I mean, it's we're in this for the long haul, you know. So I think it's one of those things, the longer we do it, you know, the more people go, well, maybe this is more than just some wrestler's vanity project. And you know, I try not to even think about it, you know. I just try to do the best, you know, play the best we can, write the best songs we can, and we try on some level to kind of avoid mixing the two worlds. You know, when he's on the road with us, he's the singer of this band, and you know, of course, fans will come out and want him to sign, you know, wrestling memorabilia or ask him wrestling questions, and you know, he's perfectly okay with doing that. But he tries to, when he's in this, you know, when he's the singer for Fozzy, he tries to just focus on being the singer for Fozzy, and you know, and that's the only thing that matters. And you know, we'll probably always fight that to some degree, you know, but we just go out and we play the best shows we can, and whatever happens, happens.
But were there any positives from having, obviously, Chris is he's got the amazing sort of showmanship, but were there any sort of doors that were open because he had that level of notoriety in another field? Yeah,
it's always kind of a double-edged sword to some degree, because in some respects it's an asset, but then in others it's a liability. You know, it opens doors because of his fame, because of his notoriety, but also there's people who don't even want to give you a chance because of that. You know, they think, oh, that's just some wrestler's band. I don't even want to listen to it. And yeah, I mean, we if we just were a band with a singer who didn't have, you know, his notoriety, we probably wouldn't be as far along as we are. But on the other hand, you know, if it weren't for that, we could be even further along, because like I said, there's some people who just flat out don't even want to listen to us because of that. Yeah. So you take the bad with the good. You just don't worry about it. You just put it out of your mind and you just do your best, you know, and just go out and play. You
guys play really, really great shows. Like, you've kind of been known for your just kind of the pageantry almost of the show and how fun the show is.
Yeah.
I've come to see you guys quite a few times and brought various people, and maybe who've never heard of Fozzy, but have really enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
So what goes into like actually planning the show, and how do you structure it?
Chris usually likes to write out the set list, you know, according to how he, you know, just wants the songs to move, and we just, you know, we come from a place just naturally of like wanting to be entertaining, of wanting to be, you know, I'm going to play with a lot of energy no matter what. I have gigs that I do at home where I'm just, you know, playing cover material in front of a small audience, and I play with the same energy that I do just because it comes naturally to me. Same with Rich, same with everybody else. We just have that, you know, thing where we like to, you know, be energetic on stage. It just comes naturally, and a lot of the things we do just kind of happen by accident, and we'll say, oh, that was really cool, we need to do that next time, you know, and it just kind of evolves. So there's not a lot of planning. There's some, you know, some things we kind of, you know, let's see if this will work, let's see if that'll work, but a lot of it comes from just years of doing it and just little things, you know, you try something on stage just off the top of your head, and if it works, you do it again.
I mean, and now you're 6 albums in now. Has it gotten easier or harder to put together a set list, because you've got, you know, more songs that you have to say no to, as it were?
Well, I don't usually have much to do with putting together the set list, so I don't know, but I would say usually the songs that end up in the set kind of present themselves. Sure. You know, for some reason when you're recording them, you know, you kind of know, you know, that one's going to happen live, maybe that one won't, you know, that kind of thing. It seems to be a little self-evident sometimes, but it is hard because there are certain songs you don't want to leave out, and you're limited. You know, we have a lot of material, and you know, you're limited on how many you can play, and there's definitely times, especially with you know, different tunings and things like that, you know, well, if we play that song I have to have a separate guitar, this, that, and the other. You know, but like I said, that's Chris's area. I just he gives me the set list and I say, I know all those. Okay, I'm good.
Just a couple more questions. Is there, like, so when you're sort of looking at the new album, you think like your Martyr No Mores or your Lights Go Out There, you probably have a fairly good idea that fans are going to really respond to them positively. Yeah. Are there any songs that you've released and fans have surprised you by how much they love them?
Like on the new album, we did the cover, the SOS cover,
right?
The ABBA cover, and I suspected that people would like it, but I also, you know, it's also a little worrisome because it is an ABBA song. It is a pop song, you know.
Some people might think,
yeah, and you know, there's some people who, if it isn't metal, they don't want to, you know, they don't want to know about it. Yeah, but it's gone over really well, you know, because it's just a good song. It's a well-written song, and we play it with our attitude, and it you know, I'm really happy with the way it's gone over.
Well, I'm really excited to hear it.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. At the minute, what's your favorite Fozzy song to play?
That's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a lot of fun to play. It's real straightforward and high energy. That's a lot of fun to play. Off the new record, I love playing all the stuff we play off the new record, just because
it's new and fresh.
Yeah, it's new and it's fresh, and I think it's the better material that we've ever done. And yeah, I mean, I know it's a cliche, but I like playing them all. You know,
well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, there's none of them that I say, oh, I wish we didn't play this or anything like that. I really do enjoy playing all of them.
Oh, perfect. Well, Frank, thank you very, very much.
My pleasure.